Let's jump into it then, right? Okay, so we start with the goal that we concede. It was poor set piece defending because I feel like we did not decide whether we were zonal marking or we were man marking. And given the fact that Royal AM actually had players who are taller than us, then you would think our like players that seem to have like a bit of height would then target amadlala abanjengona Cimento. But what we saw, we did not pick uh abadlali, mark them the dangerous ones that were expecting to hit the ball. And as it turns out, they didn't even need to hit the ball, but they just needed to pounce on the second ball, and then we considered a goal. And it's not just the thing that happened when we considered the goal, it's actually a theme that I saw throughout the match. Uguti, we're failing to pounce on second balls, and Royal AM would dominate aerially to win the first balls, and then the second balls will also were not really really good in defending those. And that was our downfall because eventually we ended up losing the match by that one goal. Second thing I saw, Guti, we played 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 really, because what was happening is Cole, Beno, Stebe were the ones who were a double pivot. And to be honest, Stebe played the role that I expected Umat to play. I expected Umat to be the one who was deeper, collecting the ball and progressing it up the field. But it was Ustebe who actually had an exceptional game. I will talk about Umat. In fact, Umat, what happened to him? I think they expected him to be the one who was going to play a role Gastebe, as I said. And what ended up happening with Umat was man marked. There was a guy who was always shadowing him. If you noticed, they were playing in 3-4-3, but what was happening is that one of the two in the double pivot was always just shadowing Umat, following him all over wherever he went. And the only advantage that left us with Uguti then Ustebe will then be free to go collect the ball, because the second player in the double pivot couldn't follow Ustebe, because if they did that, then bekuzovuleka imbobo eswini. So then it had to be one of the forwards who were going to try and press, and then in that case uBlombe vule ground and then Zlal ball, which was good because besingadlali nje ukuthi zama ukusibhola phambili, but we were actually just playing the ball and trying to see ukuthi ikuphi imbobo sivule leyo mbobo. And then uMatt, when he did get the ball, at times ube pressured, and then especially in the second half ubegcine sewaste ibhola because there was someone who was just always man marking him. Now another thing is that with the front three here too, well really front four, as I said, Tomato was being man marked, and then Utoli, Utupri, Upiliat was playing as a false nine. They were interchanging. Sometimes Ububonu Piliat sengakwa right, sengakwa left, but for most of the duration of the match, we saw Guti Utupri was on the left, and I think he didn't get the ball as much as we would have wanted him to, because we saw when he got the ball and then was running at a defender. He was good at going at the defender and just challenging him and saying, okay, let's go. Bebe Penika, because it's Katisning, Butolguti, their right wing back, Aiko, and then one of the centre backs would then have to come out and try to mark him, and then there were panic stations. And one of the things that we did not really utilize is the fact that when their wing backs were up and then ibhola liswitchile lingale kuDupree, he did it a couple of times ukuthi bebezophusha bezama ukuya kwa-right to compensate ukuthi we need to mark uDupree, and then ubedlala ibhola esiswini, and then when the ball went to the right, Udoli Beno were usually 2v1 in the first half, especially. I think Royal M fixed that in the second half. We're 2v1 against the left back, and then they just didn't utilize that. Okay, I'll make a run, and then Uplom will move wide and then try to play the ball in. We didn't really use that, and when we did kind of use it, we're wasteful with the final ball, which was the theme really throughout the match, and I did not like that. I'm looking at my notes, and first half, Undlovu was really trying to trouble Uplom, but then who ended up adjusting Uplomu, which shows immaturity. From the start of the game is your Peli game, so he was able to handle him eventually. And Uzwane talked about Tifle, and I'm not gonna lie, we saw the ball, we saw how we're playing, we saw how we're progressing the ball. One touch and move, touch the ball, move, and the movement was so great, and we saw good. Okay, really there's somewhere that we are going with this system, there's somewhere we are going with this team. These players look like they've been playing together for a long time. And just to touch on that, players would be playing together for a long time. Ekuqaleni game we're off. It's like the switch off even the way we considered a goal. ukuthi even uKwinika noNgezana kusaqala game bekungathi they were not like communicating well, bekuba na too much space between them, but then eventually they adapted, which is really kind of good and bad, because the good part is that we eventually adapted. We did not continue making the same mistake until the end of the game. So the bad part yikho ukuthi from the get-go, as a professional player, you should know ukuthi you should be in it. You should be in it, especially in a game like this. Stakes are high, and obviously Royal AM will try to land the first blow to make sure ukuthi they have the advantage in the game. But that did not happen. But then the fact that we were able to adapt, I liked that about the team. And another thing that Chiefs did not utilize very well is that ukeeper we-Royal AM ubengalibambi ibhola, guys. Makushawe kahle, he was always just ubebhula ibhola ahluleke ukulibamba or ahlulwe ibounce, but bekungesi bounce most of the times. Makukhahlelwa nje kuye, he failed to catch the balls. And I thought what was going to happen was we're going to maybe bring in Umshini and then aqala shy, even Odol, even Billiard, to start shooting from range and have whoever lacking near the keeper to make sure that when he drops the ball, we are there to capitalize, or when he drops the ball and then our strikers, they're trying to capitalize, they can foul him and we get a pen. But that did not happen. And second half especially, first half corner we try to hit is to score from range, but then, and it was like it was just normal look shoot and not too good way, like okay, there's a lack of whatever handling on the keeper, so let's go after him. But after we noticed that it's the time that I expected us to start attacking him even more, but we didn't. So I think it's something that we must fix, or Royal AM now fixed it and try to make sure that they did not allow us enough space to take shots. But I think we should do better next time to make sure that if it's their weakness to keep as Quebec is shy until we get a goal or until we get another blunder, because if a keeper keeps on making blunders, then eventually it's going to end up being a goal. But we did not utilize that as well. And what I saw is that when they brought in Umsomi in half time, Ustebe was now more neutralized. Like ubunga sambona bonga kakhulu ubekhona, not ukuthi ubeseboza, no, ubekhona. He was still able to make those runs and move forward and just do those things that he did in the first half, but a bit less, because eswini umalisela ubesebona okay, inkinga isizoba sekutheni manje uSithebe uyadominate. So mabefaka Umsomi, he was just like that person also cover more ground to make sure ukuthi as much as Umatna is being man-marked, but they can try and also disturb Ustebe as well. And it kind of worked because we started playing on the sides, and it wasn't bad. It's just that the main right here to young first half, it was a bit neutralized. You can say if you disagree. If you're enjoying the video, please like it and let me know what you think. And another thing is Ukwinika Mnand Ukwinika as Velesishon, and that pairing yabo being favor Vele from Izolo, and I still favor it right now. Good to know it's a good pairing and they should continue playing like that. And next thing is Ustebe ngisakhuluma ngayo ukuthi he was making those starting runs forward, and when he did get a chance akabhekanga ngezantsi, because bekunokhama ngezantsi and there was someone else who was running behind, and he wasn't composed enough. He chested it and tried to shoot. And by the way, people hate on those long balls over the top. If there is a space behind defense, what are you expecting us to do? If we can exploit the space, then we should exploit the space. There's nothing wrong with that. Angazuba lower big teams don't play diagonals. Hambo Buga or Man City or Liverpool, they do play diagonal balls. Or Real Madrid, but we know almost everything last season, they play diagonal balls. Big teams don't play diagonal balls. And if there's a weakness, you exploit it. It's football. It's part of it. And wangena kumshini, and we saw some movement nyana ukuthi kwenzakalani, but as I said, ungena kaMsomi eswini kind of neutralized the threat here to from the middle. And as you saw vele ukuthi most of the chances that we're creating were now wide. Even uBlombeze bemkeeping was a bit wasteful ngama chances. Mabefaka Solomons, we're getting our way on the wide spaces, but inkinga bekuwukuthi bese siyacrossa, but there's no target man, which is something that we need a target man, because it's something that I said I think a few weeks ago, a few days, I don't know. Sometimes teams will sit deep, which was the case, which was happening in that game. Good, but deep because good. Okay, now they are defenders, I mean count. But since they were taller than us, our crosses were not a threat to them. And playing Ebola to try and make a string of passes was also not really working because eswini bese bebuya ama-inverted tens abo ama-inverted wingers abo to make it a 4 against 3, and then odoli in that case bese bengena eswini nabo, but it was just stuffed. Bekuna too much what's this thing, beku overcrowded in a way, so bekungadlaleki through the middle kakhulu. And then another thing is that Udoli, guys, he did not have the greatest of games today, to be honest. He was wasteful at times, and when he was isolated with defenders, as I said, even in the first half, we did not see that personal triple defend Al-Shi and all that stuff. So maybe it's just ukuthi nesizini edlule iphele ngasadlali, and this season it was their first game. I'm not gonna be harsh in judging them. I mean, it's their first game, so we should thingy. And kune-save enzo Bruce again unasimento beshoot, which is something that I said earlier ukuthi we're not good in defending the first balls and we're not good in defending the second balls as well. So maybe we should work on that in our set pieces, because that's also a very important part in the game of football. And I've also touched on this, ukuthi there were not enough shots and we should take enough shots, guys. And yeah, go down on the comment section and let me know what you think. Overall, I think it was a good game for us. It's just that I feel like we need a striker. We need a target man, because as we already saw, as we have already seen, Udupri is mostly used as a winger, and then into yakhe siyisebenzisa i-pace and dribbling to cut in. It's not really for him to be target man. And his striker might not be our starter, it might not be our preferred player to start, but he would be helpful in matches like this where we need to, maybe we're 1-0 up and we need to kill a game and the team is sitting deep waiting to do a counter, or they are leading and they're trying to defend, and we need a target man or a second striker at least, because Dupree, it's not his natural game to stay on the box. But even Nokama, everyone that we have right now, it's not their natural game to stay in the box. So we really do need a target man, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please vote for SAMUKELISIWE. I will pin the comment on the description, and I will also I'll pin it on the comment section. Let me know what you thought of today's match. I appreciate you very much, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.